Hi everyone, welcome to the first of the videos on how to use Excel. We're going to start really basic in this one and gradually move up to more and more complicated things. You'll notice that I'm using Excel 2007, which has this pretty complicated ribbon at the top here. If you have an earlier version of Excel, it'll look different at the top, but you'll still be able to do all of the functions that I describe in all of these videos. So please take the time to work out where the commands are at the top and do the videos even if you have a different Excel version. A couple of terms first. Up here we have what's called the ribbon. You can see the different tabs at the top: Home, Insert, Page Layout, Formulas, etc. I'll take it back to Home on the left. And below all of that complicated ribbon we have what's called a formula bar. If you move down to here, it's called a formula bar because we can write formulas in that, and Excel can do some pretty fancy. For instance, if I move my cursor across and select cell G4 here, and then move up into the formula bar, I can enter a simple or complicated formula such as equals 149 times 3278, push return, and it shows me in the cell what the answer to that is. Okay? I'll just delete that and we'll go back to the cell A1 over here on the left. The other useful thing on the left here in the name box is it tells us first off the name of the cell we're in, but it's a nice easy way of quickly moving to any other cell. Let's say we want to move to cell S17. I type it into that box there, push return, and it instantly moves me over here to cell S17. I go back to the top there and type A1, the cell A1 in the top left, push return, it takes me back to the top. Okay, nice and simple. Two other terms to make sure you know well: difference between rows and columns. Rows go horizontal, just like seats in the movies or at a footy stadium. Okay, so row 11, row 13, row 15. Columns go up and down, just like the columns on a palace or a huge building. Column F, column H, column J. Any particular cell has a label that combines both the name of the column and the row it's in. So for example, this is cell I3. You can see that highlighted in orange on the column and row headings, and that same name is up there in the name box. What I'd like you to do now is to pause the video and open the first data file, Excel data file, which is called seedling counts. Once you've had that file open, can you then please return to the video and we'll continue. Thanks. Hi again. So this is our seedling counts data file. It's a real data file full of real numbers from past fieldwork. You'll see we've got our header row or headings across the top, which tell us what's in every column. So column A here contains the group number of the people who collected it. So someone in group 1 collected all this information you can see. Column B is the quadrat number, C is a vegetation type, etc. Okay. So really long data file, but in your Excel fieldwork you'll do on a residential school, you'll collect data that's way bigger and longer than this. First thing we want to do is to work out how to move around a big table like this very quickly. Imagine you want to scroll to the very end of this table. How would you do it? Now the simplest way is to move across to the right here and to drag down on the scroll bar until you get right to the bottom, and then you slow down and hope you don't overshoot, and then you go up and down until you've got it right, and then you can click on the last cell. Now in a tiny table that's easy. As you get bigger and bigger it gets slower and slower and more painful. So we'll show you a really fast easy way here that'll save you a heap of time. We'll move back to the top, move our cursor back onto cell A1 at the top here. Now let's very quickly move it from A1 on the left to the very right hand cell on the right. Okay, you can move it manually like I did, but we can do it in an automatic fashion. We'll go back to A1. Now I want you to hold down the keyboard key Control and push the right arrow. So you've got them both down. Control, right arrow, you'll see it takes you across to the right here. Control left arrow takes me back to the left to A1. That's pretty basic, you could have done that manually. But now let's do up and down. So we go from the top cell here, A1, to the bottom. If we push Control down arrow, it takes us to the very bottom row in our table. You can see there's nothing below it. Control up arrow takes us to the top. Control down arrow takes us to the bottom. Now, as well as going up and down, we can go left and right. If we go from the bottom one here, control right, we go to the very right hand corner, across to here. And if we push control up now, we'll go to the very top one, up to here. And if we push control left, we go back to where we started. So we can run around and around in circles on this by going control down, control right, control up, control left. Okay, really fast way of moving around a big table. Now it's nice for moving, but often you want to select big chunks of data so you can cut and paste them somewhere else. So we can take this control arrow step one little bit further so we can select chunks of data. So move your cursor back to cell A1 up the top. Now I want you to push shift and control at the same time and then down arrow. So shift, control, down arrow. If you do that, you see you can highlight the entire first column of data. Fantastic, okay? Way faster than scrolling down. Let's go control up arrow, it'll take us back to the top. Shift, control, down arrow takes us to the bottom. Back to the top again, control up arrow. Now we can, as well as going down, we can go left and right. If we're at the top cell up here, A1, if we push shift, control, right arrow, it'll highlight all the cells from the left to the right. Once we've done that, we can now leave those highlighted, then push shift, control again and push down arrow. And it can highlight the entire table for us. Let's go back to the top again. So to do that again, we can do it any way we want. We can go shift, control, down arrow, highlights that column. Now shift, control, right arrow, and we've highlighted the entire table. If we want to now, we can copy that, paste it somewhere else. Really fast way to move around. Okay. Let's just move back to the top. Another simple way to move to the top of an Excel table is control, and instead of up arrow, you can go home, and it takes you to the very first cell. So control home takes us back to A1. Now there is one glitch in this shift control function, and it doesn't necessarily take you to the end of the table. It takes you to the last cell that has a value in it. Now to show you what I mean, let's just move down here to cell A11 and let's delete that value there. I'll just push delete so the cell's now empty. If I move back to cell A1 up to the top, now if I push shift, control, down arrow, you see it doesn't go to the very bottom of the entire data set, it stops there just above that break. If I want to, I can go shift, control, right arrow now, and it highlights everything to the right of that, but it hasn't got my whole table. So if I go back to the top again, control home, we can highlight the whole table, still much faster than any other way, but we just have to be careful how we do it. So if we do shift, control, down arrow, then we just push down arrow again, so we've still got shift, control, down. So take us to the start of the next section, and then shift, control, down arrow again, take us to the very end. And if we want to now do shift, control, right, we can highlight the whole lot. Okay? So just be careful that when you do it, you check that there is some data under it. So if there's a blank cell in the middle there, it'll actually stop it, and you'll have to use a couple of steps to get to the bottom. Either way, it's still way faster than trying to manually scroll down the table. Thanks very much. That's it for the first video. Make sure you've got all those things under your belt and know how to do them really well, and then we'll move on to the next video later. Thanks very much. Bye.